All right, hello. My name is Jay Weygand, and I am a senior in the interior architecture and design major at UMass Dartmouth. This is the first installment of multiple interviews for my independent study with Rose Body-Solitsky in the fall of 2022. Today, we are asking interview questions to Axel Jeremy, who is a sustainability consultant who is a sustainability consultant at WSP in Boston. How are you doing?
Hi. My name's Axel Jeremy. I'm an assistant sustainability consultant at WSP. I am a recent grad from the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth Interior Architecture and Design program. What's up, Rose? And I'm here to answer some questions for Jay.
Awesome. So the first question, can you tell me a little bit about your position and what kind of company it is that you work for?
So, being a consultant, my position works around a lot of client interfacing, sending emails. I am kind of the person people lean on. My team are the people that project teams lean on when it comes to sustainability in the built environment. We help with a lot of lead documentation, a lot of stuff that has to do with like policy and zoning laws in Boston. We help project teams fulfill that. And I work for a very large international firm. WSP has offices all around the world, so it's a very corporate environment. I work with a lot of teams. Built Ecology is my team, but there are a lot of different teams within my office that we interface with for questions, and kind of we're on the same projects as them sometimes. That's basically it. Just a very large company. We do a lot of different services, not just sustainability consulting.
Great. So how did you end up making that transition from majoring in interior architecture and design to getting a job in a sustainability field?
Well, I've always been inclined towards sustainability for me. So I always look for opportunities outside of interior design and even within interior design to incorporate my dreams and goals of a sustainable future. And that landed me in signing up for a scholarship for USGBC Live, held by Built Environment Plus, because of Stephanie. And when I went to Built Environment Plus, I met Joelle, my manager now, and I just talked about how I do interior design, but I'm still interested in sustainability and kind of that aspect of it in the built environment. We kind of sparked some conversation around it, and I got a few interviews. So the transition was kind of a happenstance transition. I didn't really plan on doing it, but it happened pretty smoothly because I already came in with the interest in what I do now.
Mm-hmm. Great. So still talking about your job, in your day-to-day work life, what are some examples of assignments given to you from your higher ups and your role within the team that you spoke about?
So as an assistant consultant in Built Ecology, I am working a lot with clients and as well obviously with my team. My team is split into kind of two different halves. There's strategy, certification, data, and analytics. I do strategy and certification, kind of the lead work. Data and analytics does the math behind the performance of the building. So I get assignments from mostly strategy certifications. And my assignments range from facilitating meetings, setting up PowerPoints, answering certain emails, or finding the answer to certain emails, because sometimes we'll get client questions and then maybe Joelle or someone else is too busy and I'm also on the project, so they're like, oh, Axel, can you help out with this? We do a lot of helping out, I guess, in our field. We're always supporting each other. I've supported people on projects in New York. I'm working on a project in Portland, Oregon for WSP. So it's a lot of that.
Great. And then specifically working in the built environment, because you do and you get to see so many facets of it, what are some of the struggles that you encounter or like witness that are like going on behind the scenes with the sustainability decisions that you're making? Like, do you think more hiccups happen on like the construction end or like in the client end where like you're the person that you're working for?
I haven't had like that much experience so far. I've only been in the field for almost 6 months now. But one thing I can say is that client communication can sometimes be difficult. I've seen with other projects and some of mine where it's like clients don't answer certain things that we need answers for, or we need deliverables from them in order to make some sort of document for the city of Boston. And it's like, we need these things and we understand that they're very busy, but we're also very busy and working on the same deadlines that they are. Mm-hmm. Now, like, we've had the same issues where, or personally me, I've had the same issue where prioritizing certain clients gets a little bit difficult when I get multiple emails a day with like a lot of work that needs to be done very quickly. But we still try, like as consultants, we try to find time for everybody, and clients don't often do that for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think the most difficult part of transitioning from a student setting and an academic setting to a professional field was?
It like low-key feels like culture shock. It's the same, but also so different. In a student setting, you're, even in college, you're kind of guided towards what you need to do. You have a curriculum, you have a syllabus. In a work setting, it's like you're put in the middle of it, and I have a team, and a great team that's like helping me learn and teaching me, but they're still like very busy people. They have a job to do, I have a job to do, and sometimes I could feel a little bit lost because not all of the resources are there, especially for the line of work that I do. A lot of our work is on like the Joel, my manager, describes it as the bleeding edge of some sustainability topics, especially when it comes to like the city of Boston. We're looking into new energy, like stretch code stuff that's coming out as we're speaking now. Like the policy was recently written, and that stuff is becoming the new norm. So we are learning it as we're going. And for somebody like me who is so fresh in the field, it's like learning this stuff as I'm going is a little bit harder, and we don't have the clear guide, or I don't have the clear guidance that I felt like I had in school, where I could just ask somebody and get a little bit more of a straightforward answer.
Right. So it's a little bit more like independent. Like, yes, you work in a team, but there's a lot more like insight that you have to reach yourself, it seems like. Where you are doing research like in the middle of doing assignments. Like it's not like, oh, you have a research phase and then a practice phase every single time. It's like they kind of blend together a little bit more than they would in an academic setting.
Research and your delivery are the same thing. It's like you're researching, and then that's some of the most satisfying stuff, though, is finding out something new and then adding it to the catalog of resources we already do have, and just expanding on the field. So that's nice.
Awesome. So speaking of that transition from school to work, what do you think students or professors could do while working on or assigning projects in school to more carefully and realistically implement sustainable strategies? Like, do you think they should focus on materiality more and talk about that? Or I know in a previous conversation that we had, you talked a little bit about how sourcing is one of the most important things, not just necessarily the material itself, but like where you're actually getting it from, and like where your build site is and things like that.
So I'm going to start this off by saying, like, one of the bleakest parts of working in the sustainability industry is knowing that, well, I mean, maybe not for sure, but climate change is real, and the things that we are doing are trying to mitigate the effects of climate change on our planet. And if we don't do these certain things like faster, a lot of bad things could happen, like, to put it bluntly. So when it comes to what schools can do to better integrate students to these like ever changing and newer like sustainable initiatives going on around the world to try to mitigate this possible disaster, I think it's just changing, and this is very difficult, but changing kind of with the times and integrating as much of those ideas into the field that the students are going to, like, as much as possible. Like, for example, in interior design, it's teaching more about sourcing and more about lead and kind of where a designer's role in lead comes in. Because when it comes to lead and well and all these other sustainable frameworks for the built environment, you don't, like, a designer wouldn't touch every part. A lot of it has to do with something that a landscape architect would touch, like the irrigation, or a plumber would touch, like the flow rates and reducing them for indoor water use reduction. So kind of focusing in on those parts, like the materials parts and the sourcing parts of the design field, so that students coming out of design from school kind of already have a background in a lot of the stuff that they're going to be introduced to. Especially for people working in Boston, new buildings, new zoning laws, like I was talking about before, are making it a requirement to achieve LEED Gold. So if a student or a designer comes out of the field already knowing this stuff, they would have such a head start, because it's literally the world as we know it now, like the design and built environment world as we know it.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to leave the listeners with any final thoughts? It's probably just going to be Rose, but in case it's not, like, is there anything you would want to say to like future students, or just about the field in general, something you've gleaned from your time in the field?
If I would want to say this to students, especially like students like me who go into the professional world, not even doing something that they went to school for, and give them that kind of seed of knowledge that when you do something in school and you're really passionate about it, you're going to grow in a lot of different areas than you thought you would. I said before that I was inclined towards sustainability for quite a while, even before I went to college. And then my experience with college kind of, and the design and like built environment kind of changed the way I thought about materials more, because I'm like, okay, I love interior design. This is very awesome, creating kind of visual and emotional landscapes within a room. But where are we getting all of this stuff? How is it being put in? That's where my mind always went to, and that's where I grew towards. So just know that because you're doing this thing now doesn't mean that it's going to be your end-all be-all. And a lot of the skills and a lot of the skills and stuff that I learned in the interior design field really helped me in the built environment, like sustainability aspect of it all. It doesn't all totally translate. I'm still learning a lot of stuff every day, but just know how to use your skills. And as long as you can apply those skills appropriately, you can really do anything you want with it.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think that's really helpful. I appreciate you taking the time to answer those questions for me and have this chat. And I'll be sure to send you a link to the finished collection of interviews when they are complete.
Sweet.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.